Memory cards are still a thing. So with the launch of the Microsoft Xbox Series S and X, yes, that's right, both of them are going to be utilizing technology that we haven't had since what? The PlayStation 2? So, I mean, memory cards are back. Now, utilizing external storage devices hasn't been anything new. I mean, we've been using external storage devices since they got rid of memory cards in the first place, so that people could just plug in their USB drives or their actual external memory drives and just place the games on that. There's been some benefits to it because obviously nobody likes the internal capacities that a lot of our systems come with. And I know that Microsoft and PlayStation have done their best to continually increase the capacity sizes. I mean, currently right now with the Xbox One, both of their consoles come with 1 terabyte standard hard drives in the system itself. The expansion to SSD has always been a little bit easier with PlayStation. You can just unplug it, pull the old drive out, reformat the new SSD, and drop it right back in. But with the Xbox, you've had to basically stick with some sort of external device. And Microsoft itself even sold a officially licensed one by Seagate, which they are doing again. But this time, it's actually pretty cool. I like, and you can see in the animations behind me here, that the 1 terabyte, currently 1 terabyte that is, expansion slot, or storage expansion as they're calling it, but basically memory card, makes your console immediately into a 2 terabyte console without having to buy a 2 terabyte or build one or whatever. Now, the interesting part behind this is, I guess it is a cash grab when you look at it. I mean, they've announced the price is going to be $219.99, so $220. So basically the price of a Xbox Series S you can buy yourself. An entire console, almost the entire price of a console, you can buy yourself a memory card. I mean, does that say that the console itself is only as good as the memory card within? That's what makes it valuable, which I know is not. But in general, the idea that you can expand it now to 2 terabytes on both systems, take it back, 2 terabytes on the X and 1.5 terabytes on the S, but the ability to expand that does make it great and nice to use. The downside is you kind of are forced into buying one of these two, one of these memory cards right here, because if you want to effectively play your S or X games, or at least those that are made for the S or X, you're going to have to play it with the Velocity architecture. The system will allow you to still plug in a standard 3.1 USB external hard drive if you want to do like a 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte external SSD that's plugged in via USB. That is completely doable, but you won't be able to actually play the optimized for X and S games from that hard drive itself, which again it's all because of the Velocity architecture. They claim that the way that the drives are built are not as fast on a traditional external hard drive versus what the Velocity architecture and the new expansion slots and the built-in hard drives have themselves. But it's also so that you spend more money on stuff, really. I mean, come on. They want the ability to make sure that all the quick resume and all the cool new features, along with the 60 frames per second native and the eventual 125 frames per second, work effectively. So I don't know. I think this is one that we're going to have to suck it up and pay for it because it's worth it. The reason why it's worth it is, 1 terabyte right now is no longer enough. I mean, I'm my own Xbox One that I have, the One S, it's a 1 terabyte internal, and literally when I installed Red Dead, it took up almost half of the hard drive itself. So I couldn't effectively, I had to remove games in order to continue to load Red Dead onto the system. I don't like running externals because I like it being clean. I don't like peripherals that don't need to be there attached to the system. So it is nice to see this 1 terabyte expansion. I do see Microsoft over the lifespan of the Series X and S adding in different hard drive sizes. So we're gonna get a 1 terabyte now. Eventually I see maybe 2 or even 3 terabyte expansion. That will be pretty beneficial, but probably extremely costly as well. And at the moment, you can only get an expansion card from Microsoft directly. They are the only ones selling the officially licensed product. Now, don't get me wrong, we're going to see copies and other parties eventually making them, and I bet you they're either going to be not as good or they won't work at all within your X or S games, but at least we're going to see some expansion opportunities since there is a proprietary, kind of slot on the back. Now, the cool part is there's a little bit of info here about the different games. So if you have both a 3.1 hard drive or the Seagate expansion card itself, here are some of the features that you will get to benefit from. So first off, it stores any Xbox game. So that is correct. Across any way you want to actually do an external drive, you can store any game you want, including all of the older games as well. That way you can still play them. So honestly, in my opinion, I would put all your non-Xbox SNS exclusive games onto the external drive, and then put all the ones that you want to play and be optimized for XNS onto the inboard or the 1 terabyte expansion. It'll play Xbox One, 360, and all original games. Yeah, just like I said. So on both ways of setting it up. Plays games optimized for Xbox Series S and X, which is again what I've been saying here is no, you can't use it on the USB 3.1 drives, even though 3.1 operates extremely quickly. And it replicates the speed and performance of the internal SSD. Again, only currently at this time, the expansion slot card itself will be able to do that. So what do you think? Should we be buying this? Is this just a Microsoft tax? Is it something that you think you should go out and buy right now? I wouldn't rush out right now and pre-order one of these. Don't get me wrong, they're cool and you're gonna get one eventually, but we already know the cost will come down at some point. Same with the controllers. It's not worth it. Just get the console. You're gonna load up the games you want to play to start off with. Bring your old hard drive over, if you have an external one from your old Xbox One. Plug it in. You're gonna be able to play all the games on it anyways. So save the internal storage for the new Xbox Series optimized XNS games that come out when they come out, because not everything is optimized for the XNS yet. And the cool part is, I believe, now we don't have this confirmed completely, but I believe that when you're purchasing games, you can choose to purchase the difference between an Xbox One version or a Series XS version. Who knows? But I'm excited. Either way, this is great news coming down from Microsoft. I love how Microsoft just keeps the news coming almost daily at this point. In a sense, it's drowning out any sort of media or news that PlayStation thinks they may have at this point. You guys have heard me for the past couple weeks. I truly believe that Microsoft has done it right this time. It all comes down to day of launch, and once we can compare real games that are on both systems side by side, that's how we're going to truly know if and which system is truly better than the other. Well, thanks guys. This has been Evan from Permission to Game. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit that subscribe button below. I thank you so much. Hit that notification bell in the corner. If you're on Facebook, make sure you comment, tag some friends, press the like button, share it. It really helps us out, and it helps me out with, just getting the word out. Like, I like to have fun and talk about games, and I like that you're watching it with me. So until next time, this has been Evan. This is Permission to Game, and I'll see you guys later.